Bear behavior, strength, survival, and solitude. Bears occupy a unique position in the natural world, embodying raw power wrapped in surprising intelligence and complex behavioral patterns. These magnificent creatures, found across diverse habitats from Arctic tundra to temperate forests, have evolved sophisticated survival strategies that revolve around three fundamental characteristics: their remarkable physical strength, their adaptive survival mechanisms, and their predominantly solitary nature. Understanding bear behavior requires examining how these elements interconnect to create one of nature's most successful large predators. The foundation of strength. Physical strength defines much of bear behavior, influencing everything from their hunting strategies to their social dynamics. A grizzly bear can exert a bite force of over 1,200 pounds per square inch, while their massive paws can deliver swipes with enough force to break the spine of large ungulates. This incredible strength manifests in their daily activities in ways both obvious and subtle. Bears use their strength not merely for hunting, but as a multi-purpose tool for survival. They can flip over 700-pound rocks with apparent ease while searching for insects and larvae, demonstrating how their power serves their omnivorous diet. Their ability to tear apart rotting logs, dig extensive dens, and climb trees despite their massive size showcases strength that extends far beyond simple brute force. This physical capability allows bears to access food sources unavailable to other animals, from honey hidden high in tree hollows to deeply buried roots and tubers. The strength of bears also serves as their primary defense mechanism. Unlike many large mammals that rely on speed or herd protection, bears depend on their intimidating presence and fighting ability to deter threats. Their ability to rear up on hind legs, reaching heights of over 8 feet in some species, creates a formidable display that usually resolves conflicts without physical confrontation. This behavioral adaptation conserves energy while maintaining their reputation as creatures to be avoided. Interestingly, bear strength varies significantly among species, reflecting their different ecological niches. Polar bears possess the lean muscle mass necessary for swimming vast distances in frigid waters, while grizzly bears develop the bulk needed for digging and seasonal fat storage. Black bears, though smaller, maintain sufficient strength for their arboreal lifestyle and diverse habitat requirements. These variations in strength correspond directly to behavioral differences, illustrating how physical attributes shape survival strategies. Masters of survival. Bear survival strategies represent millions of years of evolutionary refinement, creating behavioral patterns that maximize their chances of thriving in challenging environments. Their omnivorous diet exemplifies this adaptability, allowing them to shift food sources based on seasonal availability and environmental conditions. A bear's diet can include everything from salmon and deer to berries, nuts, insects, and vegetation, with some populations showing remarkable dietary flexibility. Hibernation stands as perhaps the most remarkable survival adaptation in the bear world. During winter months, when food becomes scarce, bears enter a state of dormancy that reduces their metabolic rate by up to 75%. This behavioral adaptation requires extensive preparation, with bears consuming massive quantities of food during autumn to build fat reserves that will sustain them through months of fasting. The ability to slow their heart rate, lower their body temperature, and survive without eating, drinking, or eliminating waste for up to 7 months represents one of nature's most impressive survival mechanisms. Memory plays a crucial role in bear survival behavior. Bears possess exceptional spatial memory, allowing them to remember food source locations across vast territories spanning hundreds of square miles. They can recall the precise timing of berry ripening, salmon runs, and other seasonal food opportunities with remarkable accuracy. This cognitive ability enables them to optimize their energy expenditure by following efficient routes between food sources and avoiding areas where previous foraging attempts proved unsuccessful. Bears also demonstrate sophisticated problem-solving abilities that enhance their survival prospects. They can learn to open complex latches, remember human-created food storage systems, and even use tools in certain circumstances. Some populations have learned to fish more effectively by positioning themselves at optimal spots along rivers, while others have developed techniques for accessing human food sources that require multiple steps and considerable planning. Climate adaptation represents another crucial survival behavior. Bears modify their activity patterns based on temperature, seeking shade during hot periods and adjusting their foraging schedules to avoid extreme weather. Their thick fur coats and subcutaneous fat layers provide insulation, but behavioral adaptations like den selection and seasonal movement patterns prove equally important for temperature regulation. The solitary path. Perhaps no aspect of bear behavior is more defining than their solitary nature. Unlike pack animals that rely on group cooperation, bears have evolved to thrive alone, developing behavioral patterns that minimize competition while maximizing individual survival chances. This solitude extends beyond simple territorial behavior to encompass complex social avoidance strategies that define much of their daily existence. Adult bears, particularly males, maintain large territories that they defend against intruders of the same species. These territories can span several hundred square miles, depending on food availability and population density. Bears mark their territories through scent marking, claw marks on trees, and other visual indicators that serve as warnings to potential competitors. The size and maintenance of these territories requires significant energy investment, but the benefits of exclusive access to food sources justify this behavioral strategy. The solitary nature of bears becomes most apparent during feeding. While some species occasionally congregate at abundant food sources like salmon runs, these gatherings represent temporary truces rather than genuine social behavior. Even in these situations, bears maintain strict hierarchies based on size and aggression, with dominant individuals claiming the best fishing spots while subordinates wait their turn or seek alternative locations. Mother bears with cubs represent the primary exception to bear solitude, but even this relationship emphasizes individual survival over group cooperation. Female bears invest enormous energy in protecting and teaching their cubs, but this relationship serves to prepare the young for their own solitary existence. Cubs learn essential survival skills through observation and practice, but they must eventually leave their mother's territory to establish their own solitary lifestyle. Communication among solitary bears occurs primarily through scent marking and vocalizations designed to avoid rather than encourage encounters. Bears possess an acute sense of smell that allows them to detect the presence of other bears from considerable distances, enabling them to adjust their movements to minimize contact. This behavioral adaptation reduces competition for resources while decreasing the risk of potentially dangerous confrontations. The solitary lifestyle of bears influences their mating behavior significantly. Bears come together only briefly during mating season, with males seeking out females primarily through scent tracking. These encounters are typically brief and focused solely on reproduction, after which both animals return to their solitary existence. This behavioral pattern ensures genetic diversity while maintaining the individual focus that characterizes bear survival strategy. Behavioral adaptations across species. Different bear species have developed unique behavioral variations that reflect their specific environmental challenges. Polar bears, facing the extreme conditions of Arctic ice, have evolved behaviors centered around seal hunting and ice navigation. Their solitary hunting strategy involves waiting motionlessly at breathing holes for hours, demonstrating patience and energy conservation that other bear species rarely match. Grizzly bears in coastal areas exhibit different behavioral patterns than their inland counterparts, with coastal populations developing sophisticated salmon fishing techniques passed down through generations. These behaviors include optimal positioning strategies, timing of fishing efforts, and methods for processing and storing fish for later consumption. Black bears, being the most adaptable bear species, display the greatest behavioral flexibility. Their climbing abilities influence their escape strategies, food procurement methods, and den selection. Their behavioral adaptability has allowed them to coexist more successfully with human populations than other bear species, though this proximity creates its own set of behavioral challenges. Environmental pressures and behavioral change. Modern bear populations face unprecedented environmental pressures that are forcing behavioral adaptations. Climate change affects hibernation patterns, food availability, and territorial ranges, causing some bear populations to modify traditional behaviors. Earlier spring thaws disrupt hibernation cycles, while changing vegetation patterns force bears to seek new food sources and adjust their seasonal movement patterns. Human encroachment creates additional behavioral challenges. Bears living near human populations must navigate the conflicting demands of natural survival instincts and the need to avoid human contact. This pressure has led to the development of new avoidance behaviors in some populations, while others have unfortunately learned to associate humans with food sources, creating dangerous situations for both species. The intelligence behind the power. Bear intelligence often goes unrecognized, overshadowed by their physical presence and reputation for aggression. However, their cognitive abilities play essential roles in their survival success. Bears can learn and remember complex sequences of actions, adapt their behavior based on previous experiences, and even exhibit what appears to be planning behavior when preparing for hibernation or seeking food sources. Problem-solving abilities vary among bear species and individuals, but all bears demonstrate cognitive flexibility that allows them to adapt to changing circumstances. Their ability to learn from both success and failure enables them to refine their survival strategies throughout their lives, making older bears particularly effective at finding food and avoiding danger. Seasonal behavioral cycles. Bear behavior follows distinct seasonal patterns that reflect their physiological needs and environmental conditions. Spring emergence from hibernation triggers intensive foraging behavior as bears work to rebuild body mass lost during winter dormancy. Summer behaviors focus on taking advantage of abundant food sources while maintaining territories and, for females, caring for cubs. Autumn represents the most critical behavioral period, as bears enter hyperphagia, consuming up to 20,000 calories daily to prepare for winter hibernation. This period dramatically intensifies all survival behaviors, from foraging to territorial defense, as bears face the biological imperative to accumulate sufficient fat reserves for winter survival. Conservation implications. Understanding bear behavior proves crucial for conservation efforts. Their solitary nature and large territorial requirements make bears particularly vulnerable to habitat fragmentation. Conservation strategies must account for their behavioral needs, including migration corridors, seasonal feeding areas, and suitable denning sites. Human-bear conflict often stems from misunderstanding bear behavior. Bears following natural movement patterns or seeking food sources may encounter human settlements, creating dangerous situations. Effective conservation requires managing human behavior as much as protecting bear habitat, ensuring that human activities don't inadvertently attract bears or force them into conflict situations. Conclusion. Bear behavior represents a masterful balance of strength, survival adaptation, and solitary existence. Their physical power enables them to dominate their ecological niches, while their sophisticated survival strategies allow them to thrive in diverse and challenging environments. Their solitary nature, far from representing simple antisocial behavior, reflects millions of years of evolutionary refinement that maximizes individual survival while minimizing resource competition. The study of bear behavior reveals creatures far more complex than their fearsome reputation suggests. Their intelligence, adaptability, and behavioral flexibility demonstrate that true survival success requires much more than brute strength. As environmental pressures continue to challenge bear populations worldwide, understanding these behavioral patterns becomes increasingly important for ensuring these magnificent animals continue to embody strength, survival, and solitude in the wild landscapes they call home. The future of bear populations depends on human appreciation for their behavioral complexity and the environmental needs that support their natural patterns. By recognizing bears as intelligent, adaptable creatures with specific behavioral requirements rather than simply dangerous predators, we can work toward conservation strategies that protect both bears and the ecosystems they inhabit. Their continued existence serves as a testament to the power of behavioral adaptation and the enduring importance of wildness in our rapidly changing world.